People I'd like to punch in the face. I once knew a guy who fucked a girl he raised like his own daughter. And that's enough for me to want to punch him in the face, but here is how story goes. I once knew a guy that fucked an 18-year-old he raised as his own daughter, knowing full well she had been abused her whole life by her mother's boyfriends. Her slightly older sister was abused too. I'm not sure if the guy I want to punch was banging the sister also, but he definitely banged this barely 18-year-old girl, him being over 50 years old and drunk as he always was, all day, every day, and he did it on her graduation night. At a household many of us kids once called home. This household used to be like an orphanage for all of us ragtag, dispossessed children that had no other place to feel safe. Forgive me if I am loud. I have brain damage, very bad brain damage accident. The government is not kind here. That is not joke. Anyways, but it goes without saying, after that night, when she was raped, many of us no longer felt safe in that household that was an orphanage to us. But I cannot help but regret not speaking out more on what happened that night. You see, I was out of town on some homeless social experiment misadventure that I often undertook when I was younger to understand the ills and dangers of the world. In this country, you can call it a mission, but what you are doing is looking for ills of the world. But it turns out hell was in home. When they held their party at that safe orphanage-like household on the night of her graduation, and I had to hear about how a victim I used to call a friend and a sister was raped from all those I used to call friends that allowed it to happen. Oh, wow. I also can't get out of my mind the Facebook video I watched a week later with everyone, including the wife whom we loved as a mother. She was burning this 18-year-old girl's graduation dress with a torch on her back patio, screaming curses of hatred towards the child and spitting on the flaming dress as if somehow they hadn't made their point clear that they now hated this girl because she was victim. They call her villain, but she's victim. I can understand the wife's anger to an extent, but her husband, Woody Allen, this poor girl he used to treat as one of his own, and the wife used to be a mother to her as well. Was there drinking involved with him? Absolutely. Wow! As I mentioned at the start of this story, he was constantly drunk all the time, always drinking. But if she, the girl, was drinking, I don't know, but I'll tell you, I tend to side with the mother that eventually regretted burning her dress and hating her whatsoever. Can you believe that? The mother regretted the burning. And I side with her because what she said to me was, we've known she's been abused by her mother's boyfriends her whole life. We did nothing. Any acting out with this girl towards my husband was a cry for help. I don't care if she was drunk. That was a cry for help. That household that once was a refuge to all of us became a nightmare to all of us, including the girl who was fucked by the only person in her entire life she could genuinely and lovingly call a father. I hope she's okay, wherever she is. Do you have anybody you'd like me to rip on without fear of them knowing it was you that ratted them out? Go ahead and send me an email in a link below. Exclude names and exact locations like cities and states for the sake of your legal safety. General locations like grocery stores, libraries, or whatever are okay. Just make sure to leave out anything that gives specific identification. This in my country, which I will not tell you because of fear of safety. We know this very well. Identification very dangerous. If you aren't sure, I can work with you via email to safeguard your privacy. Ciao. Just don't put in your email. Please, ciao.